Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy Zamora. I am a student of UAT, and today we'll be diving into project number 2, which is going to talk about accomplishments and aesthetics. So pretty much a little bit of a background on that. We're going to talk about what elements can we use to obviously keep the user engaged, motivated, some of the visuals, some of the sounds that actually play a big factor into this. And obviously, how do we reward, or more importantly, I think keep the user on the loop of what's going on. So once again, my name is Jamie Zamora, and I'll be talking to you about that today. So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this a little bit, so maybe we can go ahead and dive into obviously what we're gonna be talking about today. Actually, let me go ahead and move myself here to the left. So accomplishment and aesthetics. So one of the biggest things that we have in the agenda today is, we're going to talk about, what specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals do we actually hope to encourage here, right? So how we're going to do it, right? So we talk about achievement, we talk about aesthetics, and obviously what what does it really come into play when defining a particular game, or maybe an intended purpose. So one of the things that I've done lately is I got myself a VR and headset, which was an Oculus 2, and first time that I've ever owned a VR headset. And with that it came obviously different games, applications that obviously it was a new gameplay for me. I've played PlayStation 4 before, different consoles via computer, but never really a full submerge. And when I noticed that there were some really key elements when thinking about developing a game for it that were presented to me and obviously put in perspective. And I think that's something that I noticed, and a lot of people have noticed, that it's important when you are programming for a particular console. In this particular way, in this particular talking about is VR. So one of the things that really caught my attention, one of the things that I really would like to do, and I think this is how I would break down this project, would be more of a working out project. So thanks to the immersion in the actual experience that you have with VR, you can definitely capture more of the attention of the user. So using that, I wanted to kind of lean into more of a working out concept application, and I think that actually hubs a lot of the achievement aesthetics necessary elements. So obviously to engage the user. So once again, my way would be somewhat of a realistic working out. We're getting ready to work out kind of scenario. And I wanted to kind of go ahead and obviously present scoring boards, elements like achievements where hey, you've committed X or Y Z calories, and then you fulfilled this particular badge or obviously accomplishment. But I'll dive into a little more of a specifics on that. But once again, my goal is to have the user work out at least once a day. And the way I'm going to present that is more of a realistic. It's not going to be too much of a gaming, environment where like a Final Fantasy or anything like that. It's going to be more of a gym structure. I want the user to really kind of go in and dive in and feel like they're going to the gym, and obviously somewhat of a lobby that would represent that. And then obviously the goal here is for the user to work out once a day, at least 1 hour. That's really the goal. So, what I would do is how I would obviously keep the user engaged is I would present in a more realistic environment, not a more of a sci-fi, very realistic. If I could simulate the gym, that'd be great. Somewhat of a start lobby. And the way I would, encounter this, it would be somewhat of like a class oriented, scenario. So what I mean by that is the user gets to pick the time that they want to spend on that particular class. I would say almost like a Zumba class. When you go to a Zumba class, it's a 20-30 minute Zumba class. So it's not, it's not an hour, it's not 45 minutes. It's literally maybe a 13-15 minute, 30-minute, or a 45-minute. So I would like to have that breakdown as well, where the user can just pick the type of workout and also obviously the intensity. So hey, this is going to be a hard workout, or this is going to be more of a stretching workout. I think that giving that information to the user really allows them to obviously pick the type of workout how they want to start, and it just really kind of puts that in perspective of like, hey, listen, I'm here to work out. I'm here going to do it for a specific amount of time. It's what it, if you only have an hour during the day, maybe you're taking a break from work, whatever. Here, if you're working from home, obviously you can expect a 30-minute, very uniform, very strategy oriented. I'm gonna get it in and get out kind of mentality, right? So obviously, I want that to be somewhat of the expected for the user. The way it's going to be measured is obviously if you complete X amount of minutes a day, obviously you achieve your goal. If you obviously go and outperform, obviously you can get somewhat of a star or accomplishment on it. I've seen different games that do it in different ways where, hey, you've completed this particular class and you got 3 stars out of, you got 2 stars out of 3. So obviously there's that dynamic, but, diving into a little bit more on the achievement, what is it and how is it defined? I think the way I would define this and the way I would dissect this particular scenario that I'm presenting would be obviously by time accomplished, and then also the level that you're type of class, are you doing small, medium, or large kind of type of deal, and then obviously rating you by how well did you do it, did you perform to what is instructed to you, and did you complete it in the time, and did you complete it the right way? So I think that one of the games that I would like to reference, and I think is very easy to reference in VR, is obviously the boxing game. I think there's something to be said about boxing in VR that really gets you tired. And something that I noticed in Quest 2 is there's definitely platform elements that now with the new update that they did on the Quest 2, it actually tracks your calories, it tracks your time, and it tracks your daily, use. And that's actually an external application embedded in the platform. It's not actually part of the game. So, I can lean on that as well to use those elements that are already being recorded by the platform and by the console to really kind of present that as well. So the achievements are going to be the following, and so I can define them. And obviously to be 3 and exact. So you're going to have a scoreboard. If it's going to be somewhat of a Zumba mix of boxing. So obviously, you can complete almost like Beat Saber. If you complete it, you get, obviously, if you punch it and, it touches the element, that it means that you did it correctly. If you miss it, well, if you have 100 punches in a session and you only made 50, then you get a 50% score. Versus if you punch all of them, you get a 100% score. So that's going to be one way of, obviously measure you, and obviously measure your performance based on that. The other way that I would, obviously motivate you, it would be played online. So you would be joining 5, 6, 7 people, and then I will also have a scoreboard that it's live, meaning based on this score mechanism that we've talked about, as far as about 100 punches, you obviously hit 50, and you're doing this live. I would like to have a scoreboard that literally takes you from 1 to the second place, third place, all times, while you're doing that in a 10-15 minute session. So that would allow you to kind of stay competitive. The moment I've noticed that once you go online and you see different people and you see a ranking, there's somewhat of an embarrassment moment that if you don't want to be in the last one, you don't want to be in the last place. So it's going to motivate you to maybe coordinate a lot better. And then obviously another one that I would like to do is using the daily completed. So I think maybe you're a pro, amateur, and a beginner based on the number of times that you're at the gym. I would like to do that as well. So obviously being that the fact that you're doing at least a minimum of an hour, gets you your daily routine. So if you go into the app and you checked in and you did three sessions, and you completed them and it was a total of an hour, you get your kick for the day. And obviously, the more you complete in a week, next levels or maybe music, it's unlocked somewhat of a motivation mechanism for them to obviously keep on going. So far, as achievements, I have the scoreboard. I have the, obviously the competition between online users being live, and then also the unlocking mechanism for users that are, doing at least 1 hour a day for them to kind of come and use the actual workout. I think that as aesthetics, one of the biggest things that I would like to do is, kind of going back to the scoreboard presentation or concept, is having the live scoreboard in front of you at all times. So obviously you know that you're hitting the combos right, and it's actually ranking. Perhaps I can also do somewhat of a combo. If you hit 5, 7, 10 in a row, maybe a firework kind of shows up or just like pushes, boom, and it definitely shows that you're doing the combo. Also on the punching, kind of like the Beat Saber, if you punch it hard enough, maybe it's a yellow or it's a red glow that comes out, and if you punch it, kind of soft, then it's maybe a blue glow that you get once you push, kind of like the sparkles that you get. So that way the user knows that, obviously they're punching it and they're punching it accurately and with effort. That would actually motivate the user to maybe start working out with more vigorously. Then obviously the aesthetics of the ranking. I think you have your live scoreboard of your personal achieving the combos and why not. But then to the right, as you look to the right, you're gonna see the live ranking of moving. Obviously up and down the rank. Maybe you're doing better than everybody else, doing less than everybody else. We use like a ding. Maybe like a ding that every time you rank up or like you pass somebody, it sounds ding, and you look at it, and obviously maybe somewhat of a sparkle would happen of your name just moving up. So that would actually identify the fact that you're moving up in ranking. You maybe get acquainted to that ding and somewhat of a victory, not a victory ding, because victory would be a little bit different, is at the end of the game, but obviously that ding that allows you to know that something happened, positive happened. I would definitely do that as aesthetic, somewhat of a sound oriented, and obviously a combination of visual. And then another one that I think will be important to kind of point out is obviously we talked about the live tracking of your combos and points that you're earning. You have the ranking, which is the competition next to the people over there, and then another aesthetic is obviously being able to see that you're connecting the punch. The glowing aspect is obviously, I think, indicator that you're doing it right. It also indicates that you're doing it wrong, which I think it's important. Obviously, if you're trying to do this accurately, when you're doing it right and when you're doing it wrong. So, the glowing and maybe the sparkles that come out would be somewhat of a motivation of like, hey, you kind of get hooked of like seeing those flares, and why not? I think it'll be interesting. One fourth one, I know it's only 3, but I think one fourth one will be kind of be impactful is as you're doing, maybe you're not connecting the punches, maybe a somewhat of a coach or motivator that increase the motivational quotes perhaps. Hey, you're doing great. Hey, keep on going. Hey, build up. And then, and the contrary, if you're connecting everything with well, obviously accuracy, somewhat of a same thing, not as often perhaps, but then the coach saying, hey, you're killing it, you're doing great, keep on going. If you ranking up, maybe say it out loud. I think it would be cool if it's online as well. Like if they mention your name or user number 2, or they give you a number, has ranked up, watch out, or somewhat of an instigation will be kind of nice. So in conclusion, obviously we talked about somewhat of a workout environment. that I wanted to create, more of a combination of a Beat Saber and boxing. I would like to kind of go ahead and make sure that that I am promoting this by obviously giving somewhat of a reward or achievement for the user. And then the way we're going to do that is obviously, that intended purpose is 1 hour a week. We're going to reward them with obviously a pro, a beginner, and an amateur. And then obviously, live scores all around. I think the competition factor would be kind of nice. And then as aesthetics, you definitely have dings in the game, which allows you that you're doing well. You got visual ranking and visual points being recorded, and then also combination punching the field, punching something as a letting you know that you're doing something right or you're doing something wrong. So that would be somewhat of my dynamic. So thank you very much for listening. Once again, Jamie Zamora at UAT.